everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jacqueline. I'm the owner of Luxom Consulting Group, and we do bookkeeping, business consulting, and money coaching for businesses. We specialize in online businesses and online influencers, but we work with clients in multiple industries. So if you're new here, welcome. This is a great place to start, a great place to land. And today we're going to be talking about 4 big profit mistakes that business owners make and how to move past them and how to rectify them in your business. So this advice is meant to span across multiple industries. I'm not narrowing down any specific industry in this video. It's great general advice. If you're someone that's found yourself running a business, maybe it even makes decent money, your top line, your income is decent, but you're always feeling broke, you're always feeling like you're catching up, you're always feeling behind, and you're just wondering how this happened and how to move out of it. This video is going to be perfect for you. The first big profit mistake that business owners make is they make more emotional or ego-based decisions rather than profit-based decisions. And you don't need to run your business like a robot, right? We are humans. We have emotions. So it's natural that a human running a business is sometimes going to make emotional decisions. The caveat here is that you can't let emotional or ego-based decisions run the show when it comes to your business. We need to have a balance, right? We need to have, an 80-20 balance of most of the decisions that you make in your business need to be profit-driven or profit-minded. Even if it's not necessarily about increasing profit, are you keeping profit in mind while you're making that decision? So there's things that some business owners do that look really good or are for external presentation or external purposes that do absolutely nothing for the business. And so again, it's coming back to, you can sometimes do this, right? You can sometimes make decisions based off of appearance or being overly emotional. It cannot dominate the show when it comes to this. And I think a big realization for a lot of business owners, especially if your business grew quickly, is that your business is not here to serve your personal image, right? It's here to make money. Your business exists for you to make money. And even if you have a nonprofit, your business still needs to make money, right? And I think that this is where when we don't have healthy separation between who we are as individuals and who we are as business owners, this goes especially for personal brands. So if you're an online influencer, your business name might be your first and last name. When we don't have that, and so with that, there comes a lot of enmeshment into our personal identity, and we're unable to separate that from business decisions. So therefore, every personal decision we make impacts our business and vice versa. If we're having a really horrible week or month in our life, so is our business, and vice versa. And so when we start to extrapolate our identity where we are individuals running businesses and we have that healthy balance, this type of behavior becomes a lot more obvious and a lot more clear. But it's difficult, especially if you have a personal brand. And something that comes to mind when I'm thinking about this is a situation I experienced earlier this summer when I was traveling. I was in a small town, went to a coffee shop to order coffee, and the business owner, who, within 10 minutes of me being in the establishment, I knew he was the owner of the business. He was so overly focused on his image and not focused on the customers that it literally took 25 minutes for me to get an Americano, and there was only one person in line ahead of me. And if you have any experience with coffee, you know how absolutely ridiculous that is. It's not a complicated order. It takes, 60 seconds to make that drink. And what I experienced was the business owner had his friends in the establishment. So everything was focused on the image at one point, he stopped and even prayed over his friend that wasn't feeling well while, there are customers waiting for drinks. And so that's, obviously that's a very extreme example, but that's the type of thing that comes to mind where when you wake up, and if you have an online business, you might not really go to your place of business, right? You wake up and you go to business, and the business isn't about making money or serving the customers. It's about serving a public appearance, serving some sort of emotional basis or ego base that needs to be fulfilled in your life. People do this in all different types of ways, and they do it in a financial way or in a non-financial way, like what we just have seen, right? In a financial way, this might look like over prioritizing how fancy the office looks, over prioritizing material things in order to portray a certain image. When sometimes on the back end of those businesses, it's a complete mess, right? It's completely disorganized. The profit isn't moving. And it's really comes down to the leadership of the business owner. So something to just kind of keep in mind. What things are you doing? What decisions are you making in your business that have an overly emotional basis or an ego driven basis and are putting profit to the side? And how often are those decisions the decisions that are running your business, as opposed to the once in a while something like this happens, right? Once in a while, an emotional decision takes over and you make an emotional move that sets aside any sort of financial acknowledgement. Or is that the rule? Is that just how things work in your business, right? And what can you do to shift that into something that's more balanced? So, the second big profit mistake that business owners make is they focus on scaling before they've proven the profitability at their current income level. I always say this, you've probably heard me say this multiple times if you've followed me for a while, but what happens in the micro happens in the macro. So beyond a certain income level, the level of profitability or money management or organization that you're experiencing is these are the same habits and behaviors that are going to follow you when you 10 times your income. So for example, right now, if you're making $20,000 a month in your business or $10,000 a month in your business, what's left over and how you're directing these resources is only going to multiply at higher income levels. If you're wasting a lot of money now, you're going to definitely waste a lot more money when you're making $100,000 or $200,000 a month in your business. So what's happening in the micro is going to happen in the macro. So I find a lot of business owners overemphasize the importance of scaling their business, 4 timesing or 10xing their business. There's a lot of really interesting business literature out there, right? 10x is easier than 2x. That's a fantastic book, but a lot of business owners haven't even mastered their current business in order to be able to grow it. And so there's this like mental over focus on scaling the business and making it bigger, when really what is in front of our face right now in the business that's right in front of us right now is there for a reason. It's there for us to learn these lessons. I think the best time to scale a business and to really focus on growing your income is when you are completely bored out of your mind to the point that you are craving that expansion because you've mastered your current business so well. If you're already overwhelmed, if you're already disorganized, if you're already wasting money and you're already not profitable, throwing more money at that problem, again, depending on your income level, right? If you're only making $1,000 a month, obviously making $10,000 a month is going to come with new lessons. But beyond a certain point, throwing more money at something is only going to amplify the current problems that are there. So don't over focus on scaling or drastically increasing your income until you've really mastered the business and the profit at the current income level. An example of this that comes to mind for something like a brick and mortar business is opening a second location when the first location isn't profitable. If the first and flagship location of your business is losing money every single month, adding another location is just going to double your losses. So that's the perfect example of someone that's focusing on scaling too fast rather than focusing on optimizing what they currently have in terms of business. So third thing, the third big profit mistake I see business owners make is that they take their hand off the pulse too soon. So there's a lot of books, like I've mentioned, the 4-hour work week, 10x is easier than 2x. This type of business literature and some of the more like bro marketing tips really lend to the opinion of outsourcing absolutely every function of your business, all of the operations, all of the financial operations, customer support, and things like that. And I think that there is value in doing that. This kind of lends into number two, on focusing on scaling too soon. When you're a business owner and you decide to take your hand off of the pulse and not be involved in the day to day, you have to make sure you have controls in place where you're informed if something is going wrong. And I think that this can be a really big mistake for business owners because they get so obsessed with scaling, they get so obsessed with growth, and they grow themselves out of their business way too soon, and they lose absolutely all control. And the quality goes down, the customer service decreases, things like refunds and chargebacks increase. And that's because the business owner isn't engaged. So I think that, again, this comes back to a balance. Of course, you don't want to be overly involved working 100 hours a week every single week in your business and micromanaging everything. But I think that there's really something to an owner of a business that's staying with the business and keeping their hand on the daily pulse and the daily operations that's going to increase the business. And when business owners decide to take their finger off the pulse and they're no longer measuring certain things and they're no longer focused on the daily operations, it's going to really take a very intelligent business model to be able to grow under a lack of leadership or a lack of direction from the business owner. That's going to have to be a unicorn type of business. Most businesses aren't unicorn type businesses. Most businesses are offering a product or service that has competition. And I've seen it time and time again where customers will leave because they don't feel they no longer feel the heart and soul of the business. They no longer feel the passion for the business. They don't really have a reason to stick around and be loyal to a certain business. So first off, it takes, sometimes years for the business owner to grow the business to the point that they can take their hand off of the pulse. But then I think there's also this tendency that business owners just go, okay, I've outsourced everything. Like, I'm done. I'm washing my hands of this. I'm not going to really focus on the quality or focus on any of the controls, and I'm just going to dip in and out whenever I want. And that's a very passive way of doing business. You are literally just waiting for something to go wrong for you to step in. What a lot of businesses don't need is more visionary direction. And I think that there's also an over focus in these spaces of becoming a visionary, becoming someone that's innovating and thinking different. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of great ideas out there, but very few of those ideas are actually executed on because there's no one in the business that's going to execute it or direct it better than the business owner is going to. So it's great to have ideas. It's great to be the visionary leader of a company. But in my opinion, it's a profit mistake to take your finger off or take your hands off the pulse too soon when it comes to the daily operations, because you're not really going to be able to see that through when you're not involved in the day to day. So the fourth and the final profit mistake that I see business owners making is not having clear systems in place to measure the health of their business. So this is something I think that rolls back into the previous three, where they are adverse to trusting anyone, maybe with their money or maybe with the financial operations of their business. They're adverse to creating boundaries or policies or procedures in their business that would lead to more systems that could help measure the business. So think about that in terms of, what contracts are in place? What are the terms and conditions? What are the payment terms and the payment policies for your business? So that's one thing, because that creates boundaries, which creates more predictability in your business. But the other clear system is obviously not having a solid bookkeeping system, not having a solid bookkeeper or someone to offer the analysis needed to be able to make CEO level decisions. And this is where business owners can tend to do it all in their head or save it until the end of the year, right? How often have you heard your business owner friends like, oh, it's March 15th, I need to do my taxes or something like that, right? And it's this mad dash to make sure the taxes get done, when in reality, a clear and organized bookkeeping system would have allowed them to do that months prior, because they already have the information, because they're paying attention to that information every single month. So I think this ties back into number one, making overly emotional decisions, because money is so emotional for so many people that we base the success of our business based off of how we're feeling. And it's a form of avoidance, right? So when a business owner decides, I'm going to go off of, I feel abundant, I feel rich, I feel wealthy, I feel like the business is doing well, whether or not the numbers tell a different story, um, can shatter a lot of illusions and a lot of like tightly held identities that business owners have. So there's this aspect of no longer avoiding the real numbers, no longer avoiding what actually is in the financial reality of the business. And when you have a clear system and you implement a clear system, or you hire the right people, like you hire a firm like Luxom to take care of your bookkeeping, you're no longer sticking your head in the sand and pretending that the problem doesn't exist. Instead, you're looking face on at the problem every single month. So really what this comes down to, not having clear systems, really is a form of avoidance. It's very rarely a resource problem. It's very rarely, some sort of factors that are making that too complicated. Most of the time, it's the business owner wanting to stay in avoidance, and that's prolonging their decision to improve their business by having clear systems. So I hope these tips were super helpful for you today. I'd love to hear any feedback that you have down below. I also have my newsletter called The Profit Letter, where I drop bits and pieces of business wisdom every few days. And I'd love for you to be a part of that community. So definitely sign up below. And there's also a link below to book a consultation with me. So if you are looking for financial operations, bookkeeping, money coaching support in your business, be sure to book a session with us. We can review your current system, make recommendations, and then bring you into the Luxom experience. So have a great rest of your day. Leave a comment, subscribe. If you like this content, there's going to be much more coming out very soon, and we'll see you for the next time.